Speeding at Sea, it's me, Z. Have you always wanted to learn about export control in the United States? Well, you're in the right place, because today I will be casually explaining ITAR, or the International Traffic in Arms Regulations. Let's get started. Let's first start with a brief overview of export control in the US. Export control refers to the transfer of goods, technologies, and services to foreign entities and individuals, and how we can best regulate those. There are several organizations that are focused on export control, including ITAR, EAR, and the Treasury and CFIUS. Now, these abbreviations just sound like a bunch of letters, but I will actually write them in text right now. Okay, from now on, I will just be referring to them as their abbreviations. Let's take a look at what each of these organizations regulate and what the scope of their regulations are. First off, ITAR, or the International Traffic in Arms Regulations, is regulated by the State Department and the Directorate of Defense Trade Controls, or the DDTC. You can visualize the Directorate of the Defense Trade Controls as a few people who are responsible for missiles and rockets. So when you are waiting on approvals, they tend to be approved by this group of individuals. The scope of ITAR is specifically weapons. Basically, ITAR prevents military technology from getting into the wrong hands. This includes electronics, telecommunications, or other aerospace technologies. Next up is the EAR, or Export Administration's regulations. These are regulated by the Department of Commerce and the Bureau of Industrial Security. The scope of the EAR is dual use. What this refers to are technologies that have both civilian and military applications. Their goal is to make businesses in US dollars and also gain a competitive advantage for the United States without security concerns. Finally, we have the Treasury and the CFIUS, or the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States. What they focus on is basically disallowed entities or transactions. Every year, they release a list of individuals that the United States should not conduct transactions with, especially for national security risks. Now, let's explore the concepts of ITAR. If you'd like to read up on the original source, you should read CFR Title 22, Chapter I, Subchapter M, which is linked in the description below. According to Google, a defense article means any item or technical data that is specifically designed, developed, configured, adapted, or modified for military, missile, satellite, or other controlled use. We can split defense articles into two categories. First, they can be a physical thing. This means that we need exact definitions. What is a fighter jet? What is a physical gun? The United States releases a munitions list, which is commonly updated with these definitions. The second type of defense article is technical data. This can include things like blueprints, user manuals, or intellectual property on a physical thing. However, this is only half of the total picture. ITAR not only deals with defense articles, but specifically when these defense articles are exported to foreign countries. The ITAR also defines what is an export. We can again look at this from the two defense article types. First, physical things, and second, technical data. A physical thing is exported when it physically leaves the United States to another country. Technical data is exported once a foreign, non-US citizen looks at it. Therefore, ITAR violations include exporting without proper authorization or improper handling. For instance, a company could ship ITAR-controlled military aircraft components to a foreign country without obtaining the required export license. Or another instance is the improper sharing of technical data. An engineer could email technical drawings and specifications for a missile guidance system to a foreign colleague without gaining prior approval. These violations can result in severe penalties, including civil fines up to $500,000 per violation, criminal fines up to $1 million per violation, imprisonment, loss of export privileges, debarment from government contracts, and more. Another example is the company RTX, where an employee traveled to Iran with a company-issued laptop containing sensitive technical data regarding bomber and fighter aircrafts. This demonstrates how even accidental violations are considered very severe. So, what is not controlled by ITAR? This includes anything within the public domain. An article is determined to be within the public domain once it has the intent to publish. This also includes things like fundamental research, which are articles that are published at US accredited companies or organizations. Fortunately, most of the things that you will encounter at an institution or a college falls under fundamental research. That means that non-US citizens can also collaborate with US citizens on things like building a CubeSat or working on a rocketry team. In the face of an ever-changing space industry, ITAR is open to all kinds of suggestions and edits. Every so often, ITAR releases different drafts of its regulation, and during that time, there is a public comment period where even you can help contribute to the rulemaking itself. I've linked in the description below the most recent example of the public comment period and how ITAR responded to demands and interests from different organizations and institutions. If you'd like to submit a comment of your own, there is a standard structure. This includes things like a letterhead, an address to a specific person at the DDTC, a one-page of background information about the organization, including who they are, who they represent, and why they are qualified to comment. It also includes the comment itself, a well-structured response to the elements of the proposed rule. And finally, a conclusion, including the thanks for an opportunity to comment. And that's ITAR and US export control in a nutshell of a nutshell. Of course, there is a lot more to US exports than what can be described in a 10-minute video by a VTuber. But of course, if you'd like to learn more, I've linked all the resources in the description, and please let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and I'll try my best to answer them to the best of my ability. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next one.